Hello Internet, this is TheRoschi, and I'm back with another reaction, this time reacting to Genshin Impact's event, Hidden Strife. Now, looking at this, I imagine we're going to get some Diluc, or maybe not. It could just be this is the event where they showcased his alternate outfit, and then there's plenty of other stuff going on. Oh, it says Diluc's past event. So it is about Diluc, potentially. Yeah. Full event story and secret letters. I don't know what's going to go on in this, but I'm ready, and hopefully it'll be fun, or I'll learn something from it. This is probably the shortest event that there is that I've seen so far that I've reacted to, I imagine. It's only 36 minutes long, but knowing me, this video is going to be 4 hours. Anyway, let's get into it.
Whew! What a hot day! It sure feels like summer now! A glass of ice-cold fruit juice would be the perfect thing to cool down with. Just saying. Speaking of which, we seem to keep missing out on the discount grape juice at Dawn Winery. Oh, Paimon has a hunch that today will be the day. If we leave right now, maybe we'll get there in time. Shall we get going?
Good day to you both. It's been quite a long time. You're looking well as ever.
Hi, Adelind!
To what do we owe the honor today? Important business to discuss with Master Diluc, I presume?
That's right! Adelind, since we've run into you, maybe we could just get you to help us with this one. We always miss the winery's discount grape juice, so this time we decided to come here early. Can you reserve a bottle for us? We'll pay a deposit, just name the price.
Of course I can, and no deposit necessary. But I'm afraid you might be in for quite a wait. Dawn Winery's discount grape juice takes a long time to make. Every summer, Master Diluc handpicks 2 barrels of the finest grapes to turn into juice.
What? Why sell the good stuff at a low price? Shouldn't the best grapes be the most expensive?
Master has never explained his reasoning. If I had to guess, the discount could be a marketing technique. Special deals always attract customers. Perhaps Master hopes to increase the popularity of fruit juice so that people have more options when it comes to drinking. It makes an ideal alternative for the heaviest drinkers because they won't get drunk and start causing mischief. At the same time, those who don't drink alcohol get the chance to try something new. Master Diluc isn't all about money. I think he would prefer to see people drinking in moderation than chase bigger profits at any cost. Imagine if everyone could just enjoy a nice glass of wine and have a good time while keeping their wits about them and not creating trouble for others. Now, wouldn't that be a miracle?
Yes. Yes, it would. As you saw, the screen kind of freaked out there for a second. That is the video, and I don't think that's on my end, but we'll see. Hopefully, that doesn't happen too much, and if it does, sorry. But yeah, anyway, I like how Diluc is very, how should I put it? He's a businessman. It's weird, like he's like a case where he doesn't seem to be like the typical business person where it's always like, what's the next big thing to to make money, even if it like steps on others and all that stuff in order to get what you want, blah blah blah. He doesn't seem to be like that at all. He is very much like running a business, and he is making these marketing decisions that would theoretically help with the winery, but at the end of the day, according to Adelind here, it's not about the money. He just kind of wants people to enjoy it, and it's, you know, I mean, he would care if, I don't know, he'd rather people enjoy his product rather than just buy it and get wasted off of the stuff all the time for, I don't know. There's a lot of people or companies and stuff, it's, you know, it's all about the money, obviously. Like, that's just what that is. It's what moves the world and such. So a lot of people a lot of these companies don't necessarily care about the repercussions of what they do, of what they sell. I mean, why do we have cigarette companies still? We know we know that they're bad, that you can get cancer from them, yet they're still being sold. I think if people cared about other people's well-being, that wouldn't be a thing that would be sold. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something about cigarettes that I don't know about. I'm not sure. Inexperienced. But yeah. So, the same thing with alcohol too. I mean, alcohol is poison, right? Not saying I don't drink on occasion when I feel like it, usually with friends. But that's like, that's the thing. It's just like, it's not the best thing to be selling. Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. Oh yeah, Adeline. I know about you. Let's keep going.
Wow, Master Diluc's such a thoughtful guy.
Yeah.
So, is Diluc picking out this year's grapes right now?
In the rain.
Not just yet. He has a few more issues to sort out first. He'll start the process as soon as those are out of the way. If you're interested, I'm sure Master Diluc would be delighted to see you and hear your thoughts. As you know, whenever Master Diluc catches wind of any unsavory guests showing up in Mondstadt, he takes it upon himself to go and greet them in person. It's the same story today. He should be somewhere near Falcon Coast. I'm not sure how long he'll be. In the meantime, would you like to take a seat inside? I have to stay here and wait for some other guests, but Hilly and Mako will be glad to take care of you.
Unsavory guests? What is that supposed to mean? Huh? You mean the dark and evil Abyss Order are up to no good again? In that case, Master Diluc's our friend. We can't sit here and do nothing.
If you're happy to help, that would be wonderful. Master trusts you after all, and you're both very capable. I know he'd appreciate a helping hand.
No biggie! The sooner Master Diluc is free, the sooner we can get a taste of that delicious grape juice. Come on! Let's go to the Falcon Coast!
Alright. And another thing I have to say. I'm sorry I'm pausing to talk, but that's what I do for these events. So I'm not sorry. Anyway, yeah. We said something about the Abyss Order, and maybe there will be some Abyss Order stuff, but just because of the alternate costume thing, the alternate outfit, whatever you want to call it, I'm pretty sure we're probably going to step into Fatui territory, right? Because that's like linked to it and such. At least if memory serves me right. I think that's what that is. Anyway, I imagine that's the direction we're going to go. But there could be Abyss Order stuff involved as well. Who knows? It'd be cool to see some more Dark Knight action of Diluc up to some stuff, defending Mondstadt. And the other thing that I have to say that is with Paimon here. I am surprised, but in a good way. I've talked about how her writing is inconsistent a lot, and I still think that. But in the past couple things, she hasn't been that bad, which I'm okay with right now. For example, approaching Adeline, talking about, like, she was just very civil compared to how she's acted before with stuff. Asking about the grape juice and if she could actually, if we could reserve a bottle and put down a deposit. I'm just like, whoa, okay, I don't mind that. That's great, but like, I was half expecting her to just be like, you have any more of that stuff left? We really want some. Maybe we could get a discount because we know Diluc. Like, I thought she'd go somewhere like that because that's totally in her character too. But then again, she's shown signs of like really respecting Diluc, I think. Oh no, actually no, it's more fear. She fears Diluc. Last I remember, I think she fears him. So, yeah. Maybe fear is a strong word. I should say intimidated by, probably. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm just rambling, but that's I was just this is a compliment to Paimon right now. So far, her writing in this event isn't unbearable. I'm seeing progress, and I like that.
Please send Master Diluc my regards when you find him. Also, do be careful out there. As Master always says, even when the odds of success are 9 to 1, you must never lower your guard.
True.
Is that a camp over there? Diluc is camping out in the wild?
Yeah, why not?
Huh. This is weird. Maybe these enemies are really tough, and it's turned into a long, drawn-out battle. Let's go check it out. Huh. This tent doesn't look like it belongs to Diluc. Maybe it's an adventurer camp. Oh, there's a piece of paper and a notebook over there. Let's read them.
Dear Dark Knight Hero, we are seeing a repeat of the phenomenon, something something, although you fully resolved the issue last time. The ley lines seem to be simulated. Okay. Sure you'll want to deal with those. Okay, so stuff's acting up. Some essential individuals. Okay.
Judging by the tone, it seems like this was written by someone Diluc knows well. Let's call him Diluc's friend for now.
The nicest
He
nickname she
saw
ever gave
something
anyone.
bad happen, wrote a note for Master Diluc, and then left. Huh. Isn't that pretty irresponsible? What if someone else had seen it? Also, he left his notebook behind. Now that Paimon thinks about it, you know that strange ley line deposit on the beach? Other than that, everything seems fine here. Not a monster in sight. Do you want to read Diluc's friend's notebook too?
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. That ley line deposit thing, that's like glowing red. We don't really see that. I mean, do we not see that it's red? Wouldn't we get a little suspicious? Usually they're blue or yellow or not red. Just saying. Anyway.
If not, let's head over and take a closer look at the ley line deposit.
Read the book. I want to read the book.
There are 2 notes here. Which one shall we start with?
Okay, hold on. I can actually read it. Nope. Damn it. Hold on. I can do this. First note. It's been years since the ley lines last released such highly aggressive monsters during an anomaly. Oh, wow. Just clicking through it, huh, pal? Oh, it's autoplaying, that's why. Okay. The Dark Knight hero's timing was perfect. The way he lured the monsters a few at a time into the open to defeat them one by one. Quite the strategy. Okay. And then he pretended to be seriously injured, luring out the Abyss Order's main forces and then meeting them head on. A truly magnificent counterattack. He's playing possum a little bit. Still, this plan involved too many uncertainties. The Dark Knight hero himself even said that he can't afford to take risks like this every time. Right. Okay. I'm just going to address something real quick because maybe some people are actually wondering. I think the autoplay button is great, especially during dialogue scenes to keep things moving and stuff. But the moment it comes to reading something like this, it sucks. I mean, I don't know, because I don't read that fast. And I'm not saying it sucks, like don't use it, it's a bad feature. No, I think it's fine. It's just for the way I play, just to remembering to turn this on and off, I'd rather just not touch it at all and click through things. So that's why when you see me play, I'm taking my time to click through the dialogue because I also want to stop sometimes and talk midway through it with my ideas and speculation about what's going on. I'm figuring that the majority of you who watch my stuff kind of understand and get that. But in case if anyone was ever wondering why I just don't do autoplay, that's the reason. I just like taking my sweet time. Getting to the root of the problem and preventing these types of leyline disorders from happening is the safest approach.
Paimon didn't follow all that. But it seemed to be about a previous battle Diluc was in?
Yes. Leylines hold many secrets we ordinary people not need to concern ourselves with the way they work. But since the Dark Knight hero will be fighting against the Abyss Order for a long term, it is in our best interest to gain a deeper understanding of them. I heard that the captain of the Knights of Favonius investigation team, which is wait, investigation team. Is that I'm all confused. Who does what? Eula is scouts, right? Amber is outrider. Which outrider might as well just be a scout. They just glide a lot. It's like, what's the difference between an outrider and a scout? I mean, and they all protect, so you can't be like, well, outriders protect and scout, because no, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, I know that the outriders have like a history, and Amber's like the last one, it seems. But yeah, my eye is itchy, and I don't know why, and it bothers me so. What else? Jean is acting Grandmaster. Is it Mika? Is Mika investigation? Right? Kaeya's Cavalry. Who am I forgetting? Albedo? Is Albedo considered investigation? He's like an alchemist. That's not the same. But does he do both? Because he does investigate things. Anyway. It's fine. Sorry about that. Ugh. Okay. Heard the captain of the Knights of Favonius investigation team is a highly accomplished academic, but unlike Lisa, he is not especially close. Okay. With the acting Grandmaster, I think it said. We should be able to learn a few things from him without the Knights of Favonius finding out. Huh. Perhaps the Dark Knight hero could ask him for input on a technical issues regarding the ley lines. I will deliver the letter to camp on the mountain. I feel like it would lean towards Kaeya, but Kaeya's not investigation. Even though he does investigate, he kind of just does his own thing. Like he spies, because that's what he does. But yeah. Huh.
Sounds like it was talking about Albedo.
Okay.
Did Diluc write a letter to Albedo?
Right. Okay. So he is investigation. Why did I think? Because I was doing the alchemy thing, but that's also, anyway. Yeah, Albedo is investigation. Which makes sense. Okay, no, I knew that. Jesus, I talked myself into circles. I kept wanting it to be Kaeya. Because we're getting a Diluc thing. So, like, I just automatically associate Kaeya with Diluc and vice versa. So, for some reason, I just was trying to think of a reason why it should be Kaeya in my brain. But that doesn't make sense. I never once called him the investigation captain. Albedo is. Cool. I dig it.
Whoa! Where did all these monsters come from?
You know, places.
Wait a second. Is that Diluc? Huh. He looks kind of different than usual. Look at him go! So focused and full of energy! So this is Captain Pyro when he's in top form, huh? Hey, you're right! Now that Paimon looks more closely, this Diluc does look younger than usual. But what happened back then? Why is he fighting here? Guess we can just ask him about it when we see him. What should we do now? Okay, let's see how young Diluc used to fight.
Flames! Purge!
And then you got to play as him in the all-out
The
thing.
fight
Cool.
is over. Diluc wiped the floor with them. Guess some things haven't changed. So is there any actual danger here? It looks like it's only these illusions from the past. So Diluc's already called it a day? Will more monsters come out if we go up to that weird leyline deposit again? And what about young Diluc? If it's like the other leyline deposits we've seen, then it should have disappeared now that all the monsters are defeated. No! Paimon's just a little worried is all. What if someone passing by gets curious, comes to check it out, then suddenly, yeah! A monster jumps out and clubs him over the head with a swish and a smash! That would be terrible. Because it sounds more dangerous that way. Anyway, we came here to help Diluc, didn't we? So let's stick around a little longer and make sure this place is completely safe before we head back. Not really. Paimon just wants some fancy grape juice. Come on, let's finish what we came for. When we get the grape juice, you can have some of Paimon's half. We've been fighting here for a while now. Paimon's starting to wonder if we should have left the leyline deposit alone. Maybe then the monsters would have stopped coming. Also, Paimon still doesn't have a clue what's going on here. Shall we just go ask Diluc? Yeah, come on! Let's get back to the Dawn Winery.
You're finally back. I didn't think you'd be gone for so long. Sorry if it was too much trouble.
That's okay. We did offer to help. So anyway, is Master Diluc back yet? We didn't see him at Falcon Coast.
Sorry, I'm not sure of Master's whereabouts either, but I did hear that he recently visited Angel's Share. After dealing with this kind of trouble, Master is always careful to tie up all loose ends. It's become something of a routine. He should be back very soon. You needn't worry. In the meantime, please make yourself comfortable in the winery.
After all that, we managed to completely miss him. Oh well. Let's just wait for him at the winery this time. By the way, Adeline, how come you're always standing here at the door lately? Usually you're busy indoors.
Because she has to make sure no one escapes. Otherwise, they'll miss out on the sticky honey roast. Yeah, so interesting. I like how, I mean, this is a given because it's just a big part of the game at this point, which I'm realizing. The whole ley line thing. I like when they mess around with the ley lines and they see events from the past and how that's definitely become more of a, I don't want to say normal thing, but like a regular, it's something that comes up enough where I don't feel like, oh man, it's just coming out of nowhere, or wow, we're talking about this again after so long. Like no, it seems to be coming up relatively steadily to not necessarily remind you, but like that's just part of this world, right? You have these ley lines and you're fighting these monsters, but also when there's stuff happening with the ley lines, you see you see moments from the past, because it gets all weird and stuff, and that has definitely become more of a thing with Inazuma, I suppose. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there was some stuff in Liyue at the very least, maybe. But regardless, I think Inazuma is where that actually definitely picked up, where it made it a lot more apparent, um, especially when dealing with the island with Rue on it and such, like that whole thing. That was a pretty big one. Um, and then things with Raiden Shogun's second story quest and other stuff. Oh, freaking the Sakura cleansing rite ritual, whatever you want to call it, like that whole thing as well, with the toxicity and the negative energy and blah blah blah, and dealing with those, that whole thing. Like, I don't know, when they get talking into these ley line stuff, it just really allows you to get a better, I mean, it's not even that. I was gonna say like a better grasp on how the world works, but it's like Teyvat, as what it says in some of the loading screens sometimes, is that like the rules are just different, right? It's not like it would be in our world and such, and that's such a big clue, just like a big hint towards how weird things actually are, and how things are made to be a certain way and aren't necessarily supposed to make sense. I think there's plenty of things we could dive into regarding, I mean, there's, okay, I don't want to say talking about lore and when certain events happened is not important, because I do think it is important. But I think from, and you know, and I like lore stuff, and this goes into that category where it's another way to perceive things, that the time of events are a little weird. They're I don't think things necessarily happen in an order that, how do I explain it? This should be a video in of itself, and kind of, I've honestly have dropped the ball a little bit on a theory video that I've been trying to do regarding Paimon and such, and maybe I'll bring it back, because I do want to talk about it, but I don't know if it's better to just turn on the camera and just go and share my thoughts, or to make it some bigger production thing. I'm not sure. It's just getting harder and harder these days with all the stuff that there is, and how much I don't know but need to find out, but want to find out, even though speculation is fun and such. But yeah, I feel like I'm just gonna have to talk about my ideas even more freely as I play, to really share my thoughts on them, and then after a certain point start putting stuff together. But anyway, sorry, I'm all over the place right now. I was going, what I want to say is that when it comes to this ley line stuff and how we are witnessing and seeing things, yes, there is a timeline, there is an order, but when we look into Istaroth and we look at at least the theory that I have about Venti and stuff being able to, at the very least, have visions of the past, present, and future. Personally, I think he moves through them when he wants to, but that's a whole nother thing. I feel like time is, oh man, how do I, it's not linear. Does that make sense? If I say that the timeline is not actually a line, that's not linear, that I think we're just dealing with everything on top of each other, you know, or you could Doctor Who it, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, what, that whole thing, that quote, like, it's kind of, we're dealing with that kind of shit here. where like, yes, there are past, present, and future events, but at the same time, because you have this stuff with the ley lines and you're seeing moments from the past and how there are things of certain events happening at specific times, but at the same time you have things where they almost feel like they are repeating themselves in some ways, but then you also have that message of like, you know, enjoy the journey, witness everything. You have to be the person who essentially commits it to memory or records it, if we're like, you know, but what the archons are saying. I don't know, there's just a lot. And then there's also the fact that being the traveler, we are not connected to these ley lines. So there could also be that chance of us just straight up seeing it from a completely different perspective that other people can't. And then you can put into question, which is just also just a gameplay thing, a gameplay mechanic, gameplay thing, but it's also just traveling doesn't make sense in Genshin Impact, and it doesn't. And it's been, I know people could be like, yeah, you were petty and did that whole thing. Like, yes, I was. Because I remember getting shit for it, being all like, it doesn't make sense. You walk from here to here, and they act like it's like, you know, weeks to months, but in game, it's really just like a day, you know, and that's like without teleporters. You know, like there's stuff like that going on in the game where it doesn't really make sense how far things go. So then that brings like not just time but also space into question, which, you know, now we have Paimon shit going on. Yeah, things are just out of whack, and people, it's whatever the world is. The world and its timeline, the world of Teyvat and its timeline are whatever it needs to be for the sake of a character's perspective or the events that occur and how it wraps up in the other things. And in one way, it can be seen as kind of lazy writing, but it's not my opinion, because I think it's actually pretty clever. If in some cases you can do it right, if you keep the timeline loose enough, if you keep like these things from like, it's not a big focus right now, but it's there. And it just makes me wonder how much is actually planned versus what's a mistake turned into plans. I don't know if that makes any sense, and I did kind of just ramble a lot right now. My apologies. But those are the kind of things that make me really appreciate them bringing in the weirdness of the ley lines and the weird stuff that happens with it and stuff, because I feel like it goes a lot deeper than just, oh yeah, we can see past events through them. Yes, absolutely. But there's more to it. It's like Teyvat itself is very alive, and it records everything that happens within this world. And then when things get out of whack, it seeps back out and that fucks with everything in an interesting way. I don't know. That's a ramble and a half, but let's keep going. There's a lot more to get through.
Hopefully you haven't been standing there waiting for Master Diluc this whole time, because that would be really tiring.
Oh, thanks for your concern, but I've actually been instructed by Master to meet with some special guests here. Certain guests may need reminding to stay away for the time being. Master hopes that under the present circumstances, these guests will keep an appropriate distance from the winery, so as not to make a difficult situation even more complicated.
Well, Paimon didn't understand any of that, but it sounds like a really important job.
That's very kind of you indeed, but you've already helped Master Diluc out a great deal. You can let me take care of these time-consuming chores. There is one small thing you could do for me, though. Please, take this letter and place it on the table to your right as you enter the door. There are a few archived letters on that table already. Just put this one at the very top of the pile.
Is this a letter for Master Diluc?
Yes, it's from one of his informants. Only those in Master's inner circle are permitted to handle it or serve as custodian.
Ooh, that means we're part of Diluc's inner circle.
Of course. Master Diluc greatly values your friendship. Thanks again for the help.
Sort the letters.
Whoa, there are so many letters here. It looks like Diluc read them just before he left. He must have been in a hurry. Adeline asked us to put this one at the top of the pile, but how are we supposed to tell the order of the other ones? Guess we'll have to read them to get an idea of when they came in. Oh, that's true. In that case, let's just tidy them up a little.
You're here. You move fast.
Woo! There he is!
What are you agonizing over?
Miss Adeline asked us to put these letters in a pile, and we can't tell which order they should go in. But, it's your personal mail, so it'd be rude for us to read them without your permission.
There's no need to be nervous. And I can see from the looks on your faces that they've grabbed your interest. These letters deal with events that are past and gone. I only held on to them in case any of the information they contain proves useful later down the line. I just dug them out to confirm a few details. I've been following some rather unique developments recently.
Do tell.
You were involved in the events in question anyway. You can read them if you want to. It's not a bad thing to be curious.
Hey, that's a good point. Actually, you kind of smell like wild mountain fruit. Oh, did you go to those mountains where the Valberries come from?
Very perceptive. Yes, I did make a trip to the Stormbearer Mountains. I'll fill you in later.
No fair! We still have some super important things to discuss with Diluc. Not to mention a whole bunch of questions. All right, let's just sort these letters for him. Well, since he said he doesn't mind, why don't we read them as we go?
Oh. To the heir of the Ragnarok clan, I apologize for sending this letter without notice. You may not remember me, but we've met a few times. We've met near the square when I sat at the table, adjacent to yours at the Good Hunter, and I have been seen in your tavern. You were always busy with with a great many things, especially back when you were much chattier than you are now. You spoke cheerfully and often with your brother and friends. It's probably no surprise that you did not notice me then, but I've always had my eye on you, child. I recall the crystal clarity, how my little Klee once made a complete mess of your vineyard while she was trying to catch crystal flies there. Aha. Entirely right. Okay, so this is Alice. Got it. Okay, that's funny. But you didn't get angry. In fact, you personally escorted Klee back and even gave her a few bottles of fresh grape juice. So he's been nice to Klee. Klee doesn't like Diluc though, right? Or maybe she just, it's not that she doesn't like him, but everyone else is like her best friend. Her bestest friend. But Diluc is not. Damn. Now I think that might jog your memory, yes? Klee recently told me that she hasn't seen that strange man with red hair in ages, so I decided to look into it out of curiosity. My deepest condolences regarding your father. Ooh. In many of the stories I've been told, you are the model knight, proud, driven, a knight of noble character and lineage. But I know that you're gentler than you appear. If you weren't, you wouldn't have treated Klee the way you did. Absolutely. And since you helped my child out, I hope you won't mind if I treat you as if you were my own. Aw. Therefore, I sincerely hope that you will leave the dark place that you are pleasantly in. Hold on. Dropping some stuff. Hold on. I mean, we know he's not the happiest guy. Dark place that you're presently in, and that you will not wallow in grief and remorse. Partings are most painful things, but they also encourage us to grow. A bird that has lost the roof over its head will fly further than others of its kind. Damn. That's deep, Alice. Go out and see the world. That's the best course of action I can envision. Only by feeling, observing, and listening can your heart be healed. Parents all wish that they can accompany their children forever, and the skies, seas, and stars bear witness to that oath. Everything that was your father now finds new life with you. That which you will experience in this world may have been things that your father loved, that your father enjoyed, that your father thought highly of, that your father experienced once upon a time. Okay. I hope that the wind will bring you all manner of wondrous things in your journeys to come. In any case, keep your chin up, young child.
Huh. Paimon's not sure what this one's about.
Paimon? Alright. I'm gonna... It's fine. Man, I think they are doing a better job with Paimon in this one than they have recently. However, this whole... I don't understand what's happening has happened 3 or 4 times so far in this event, and we're only like 15, 16 minutes in. That's crazy. Paimon, fucking pay attention to something, dear God. Seriously, it's been at least 3 times where she's like, I don't really know what that means. And it's just like, girl, stop thinking about the grape juice for a goddamn second. Oh, God. Anyway, that was a pleasant note from Alice. That I like that a lot, actually. It's, oh man, it's weird. It's a letter that was sent a while ago, right? At the very least, it's referencing things that happened a while ago, because she is talking about how when he was a part of the Knights and stuff like that. But then obviously things have changed, because I think she said, like, you know, the last time I spoke or saw you or blah 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 was when you were essentially a knight. But has now come to find out that he's lost his father, and she's sending, and this is her way of sharing her condolences with him. And, you know, respect. Alice, I've talked about a bunch, but she is a character that I love-hate, where I think she's simultaneously one of the most interesting characters in the game, and also one of the most boring characters in the game. Because what she's up to is super interesting. What she's doing behind the scenes, whenever her name comes up, you just know that something important or something is revealed, right, about her or the situation in some way, shape, or form. Because she's been around for a long time, and she's been all over the place, and she's done all this stuff, and she is capable of doing all this stuff, and it gives hints to other things that are to come and such. She knows a lot, and she has a lot of experience. So seeing that side of her, and sharing the cryptic information that she has, it's very, very interesting. But Alice, as her person goes, is kind of trash. I don't like the whole that we're just supposed to accept that she's a good mom when there's no proof of it other than her sending her daughter on vacations. I know that like verbally through writing and stuff they've said that she's around for Klee and such, but I'm also saying that's a cop out. It would have been more interesting if she was a shit mom. Maybe people don't like that take, but that's just kind of what that is. Otherwise, she's a Mary Sue character. 100%. Because no, even though we see parts of her that are still screwed up, her experiments that she wants to do with the Hilichurls and stuff, like that's kind of messed up. Actually, no, it's not kind of, it is messed up. But no one else really questions her logic, really. Not to the, and if it ever does happen, I feel like it's more out of comic relief. But for the most part, it seems fine, I guess. But she's really a menace. So I don't know. I think it's weird that we have this character who's obviously like, maybe she's just very chaotic neutral, which is fine. I think that's a cool alignment to mess around with when it comes to characters. But I feel like no one else really sees her that way, which puts a bad taste in my mouth. It just doesn't, I don't know. It's just kind of like, oh, we're just making excuses for this character to be great. And even though they do weird and crazy stuff and it's like, it's funny. It's like, no, but it's not. It's actually really fucked up. I don't know. There, like I said, there's a lot that I like about her, but I also wish some of her shit was just better, just written better, to be even more interesting, because she has the potential to be like the most interesting character. And she's just not. However, after saying all that with my ranting, and I know people hate that opinion that I have. Fucking cry about it. It's what I do want to say is that I think that this letter that we just read does personally, I think it's good. I do think it's good because it is giving me a little bit more about her with the way she is writing to Diluc. It's because the advice in it was very real. You know? You got the sense that, like, okay, yeah, she's not around a lot. The last time she was, she remembers this, but now things have turned this way, blah, blah, blah. And even though she is this elf character, and elves live for a really long freaking time, I guess we're going to say elf. She could be something else at this point, but elf ears. Lives for a really long freaking time. Yet, it's showing an understand, like there is sympathy here. It's showing an understanding of what Diluc is going through right now. And her advice is to essentially, go out and be free, see the world, do the things that your father would have done or has probably seen, instead of just staying where you are and wallowing in grief because you feel like you need to feel bad about what happened. It's very real advice. So that made me actually appreciate her more, and just that letter itself. I still have my problems with her, don't get me wrong, but this did help me humanize her a little bit more, if that makes sense. Because with a lot of the other stuff that she's done, she hasn't had to really care, because everything's just sort of been a game, or just to see if she could do it. But now it's referring to, like, even referring to the clan and all that stuff. Like, I don't know, like there's a lot of little things in this that shows that she has her experience, that she's been around for a long time, yet can still sympathize with someone who is still very human, most likely going through a really hard time right now. And she did it with class. It wasn't just kind of like a, I don't understand why you're sad. Your father wouldn't be sad. He would be he would just, like, why be all bent out of shape about death? You're a human. You guys deal with it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't go that direction, which I'm glad. It was definitely more like, hey, don't let the darkness take you, man. Like, live. So, I don't know. I appreciate that. Let's see what these other letters are about.
Shall we read another one?
A letter with clear handwriting. Master Kaeya took leave and stayed at Dawn Winery for a few days. In a rare turn of events, he decided to stay in his original bedroom. He would pace about the grounds when idle, and even asked Adelind to make him his favorite dishes. It really does take me back. I shall be honest with you, but I was quite surprised to hear Master Kaeya say that he wanted to stay for a few days. We did not refuse him, however. We believe that even if you were here, you would not refuse him outright. Dawn Winery has always been a more quiet location, perhaps because all who stay here are rather peaceable people. The house is made by those who live in it, and Master Kaeya's uncommon arrival did end up livening the place up significantly. I hope that you are doing well in your travels abroad. Everyone here at the winery misses you. May you remain safe and in good health.
Do you want to...
Okay. So that was a member of staff. For a second, I thought it was Adelind, but then they referred to Adelind in the letter. So it was probably one of the other maids or service staff. Maybe it's even the guy that works behind the desk on the right side of this room. I can't remember his name. I want to say Jarvis, but maybe that's just because that's just a butler name. Anyway. Yeah, Master Kaeya came for a visit, walking around and stuff, hanging out. I do like that. That is definitely there to give us a little bit of insight of Kaeya up to stuff, hanging out. How he does. I mean, we know that he visits on occasion and things, but he actually stayed around for a bit, and I'm glad that he's not completely, what's the word? I want to say ostracized. He's not completely just kicked out of the estate or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Hyler, like, oh, Kaeya's here, lock up, he's not allowed in. Like, no, like, all the staff still appreciate or respect Kaeya at the very least, as much as they had before, which is cool. Diluc and him just kind of have their thing, but even in the letter, there's like, we know that you wouldn't just make him leave, so we allowed him to stay. And of course, Diluc could respond to this letter, like show up and just be like, "What do you mean? Of course I'd kick him out," but not really mean it when he says it. I feel like it's one of those things. Anyway, that's cool. I'm liking seeing these little like. These little inside looks into what characters are doing, feeling, thinking through this written text at the very least, because it is making the world feel more lived in and stuff. Like I've said before, you could be out in Inazuma or whatever, or somewhere else, Sumeru, it doesn't matter. And because you're dealing with that stuff, as far as like Mondstadt's concerned, or any of the other places where you're not at yet, people are just frozen in time, like they haven't done anything. But because of stuff like this, like, yeah, characters' lives are continuing to move, they are continuing to do things. Even in this one, how Diluc is here but he's not, because he's out doing a thing and he's like in a rush to solve whatever it is. Like it shows that like he's busy, he's got his own plans, he's doing stuff. I'm really liking how you don't have, although these characters are pretty much idle realistically till you get there. They're not actually moving around the world doing things when you're off doing your other quest. The game doesn't work that way. But storytelling wise, they are making sure you know that, like, no, these characters do have their own plans. They are doing their own thing. And I think that's pretty important. That is good writing.
Keep reading them, or have you got the gist now? Okay, remember, we're trying to figure out when each letter was written.
Only one more? I'd read all of them. I want to read all of them. A letter with rough handwriting. Jean wrote to me lately with shocking news. If I don't miss my guess, she wrote to you too. Her sentiments are those of the knights as a whole. Crapus was a good man, and I thought very well of him. It grieves me greatly to know that he met with such a fate. As for the defeat of the Drake, the honors for that accomplishment should go to your father. I do not accept Eroc's theft of the credit for that deed, which was brought with your father's sacrifice. Stolen credit will not be accepted within the Knights of Favonius under any circumstances. I will not permit it. I have already given Jean the authority to punish Eroc with all necessary severity. The Knights will inform you of the results. Okay. This is from Grandmaster Varka. I've heard that you've been taking some time off outdoors and may not be easy to reach. God... Come on. Okay. So there is no guarantee that my letter will reach you. As such, I'll stop here for now. If it does reach you, then I wish you good health and safety in your travels. Contact us if you need anything. I hope that Falcon of yours will help put this letter in your hands. I mean, I don't write in person very often. You know. These may seem like pointless words to you right now, but remember, even the greatest of disasters must come to an end. Mondstadt waits for your return, and if you're willing, the Knights will always welcome you. If you're not, forget I said anything, yeah? I'm all set.
Alright then, let's put the letters in the right order. If there's one...
Okay, man, I mean, I could probably look it up, but I'm not going to do that right now. If any of you care to share what the other letter said, if you know, then by all means do so. That's up to you. No pressure. But that is interesting. I'm pretty sure, I'm like 90% sure that was Varka. Because I think it said I gave orders for Jean to do blah blah blah. Who else is going to give orders to Jean other than Varka himself? I don't know what other orders she would. I mean, it's either Varka or maybe some top tier guy from the church itself or something. Those are the only two people. But Varka is the only name that I know that comes to mind. However, it could have been like that guy from the comic. There was a guy from the comic that went with Varka on his thing, I believe, because we haven't seen him in game yet. Anyway. Yeah. That is interesting. I mean, the majority of these letters are take place after his father had died. Couldn't be that much longer after. It's essentially when he separated himself from the Knights of Favonius. It's like that fresh when this stuff happened, when these letters were sent. And I guess the Varka one was like he wasn't sure if he left the Knights yet. Maybe. So it could have been like that one first. and then the Alice one maybe, and then the Kaeya one. That would probably be the order if I had to guess out of those three, but I could be mistaken. And not that it matters because I'm not the one doing it right now. But yeah, he did say these were older letters, but he also said he took them out to see if there's anything relevant in them that he could use right now. So what would that be? Anything like information on his dad or something, or about the Knights of Favonius? Huh. Okay. Let's keep going.
One thing we can take away from these, it's that Master Diluc has had a pretty difficult past. Not only was he misunderstood by the Knights of Favonius, but he's faced all kinds of other obstacles too. Sounds like it's tough being Captain Pyro. Always fighting alone because, for one reason or another, it wasn't convenient for the people around him to help out. Yeah, that's true. Plus, he's got us now. We can give him all the help he could ever want. Oh, out of friendship, of course. Definitely not just for the grape juice.
If she means it.
Wait, what?
Ah. You gonna explain, buddy?
Is there a problem?
Master Diluc, you're wearing your old outfit again? And you've tied your hair back. You look so formal all of a sudden.
Old outfit? You've seen it before?
Yeah.
Yup, it was by that ley line anomaly. That was your past self, right?
Huh. I'm surprised it made such an impression.
Do you mind telling us about it? What happened back then? Why were you fighting there?
The same reason as ever. Just stopping another Abyss Order plot. They launched an offensive on several fronts at once. Unfortunately for them, they were still no match for me. We were fighting in an area on Falcon Coast, and everything was recorded by the unusually active ley lines. They must have become unstable again recently, causing them to let out all kinds of information from that time. Hence why you saw what you saw. For starters, you only need to deal with the monsters and the ley line deposit will stay dormant, as long as it isn't disturbed again. On the other hand, if I'd done nothing at all, the Knights of Favonius would have taken over straight away. Knowing how they work, they'd be sure to send a large contingent to guard the site.
Wouldn't that have been a good thing?
Nope.
Depends. Most of the Knights are away on expeditions, so they don't have a lot of people to spare.
Yep.
If the ley line anomaly was just a diversion tactic, the Abyss Order could have been poised to attack somewhere else entirely, while the Knights were scrambling to send what limited forces they have to Falcon Coast.
Yep. Monster.
But anyway, I have no interest in talking to the Knights of Favonius. I prefer to get to the bottom of things myself, rather than waste time negotiating with them. And it was easy enough for me to find out the Abyss Order's plans. Take a few Abyss Mages hostage, and they soon start talking.
Oh, we know.
As for the Knights of Favonius, I've sent someone to enlist their cooperation where it's needed. It's their job to handle situations like this. They ought to be present when things come to a head. I don't like working closely with the Knights of Favonius because of our differences in philosophy, but that doesn't mean we can't watch each other's backs when it counts.
Whoa. Seems like you have even more control over things now than you used to, Diluc.
The best way to deal with any threat is to utilize all the force at your disposal. Anyway, thank you for your help. Adeline brought me up to speed with everything. In return, I have a gift for your trouble.
Grape juice? The packaging is so fancy! It must be really expensive!
This is my personal favorite grape juice, made of the highest quality grapes. I happen to have an unopened batch, so I brought you a bottle to try. I didn't know you were such fans of grape juice. Next time you want some, don't bother waiting for the discount. Just go down to the cellar and help yourselves.
Damn. If that's not an in, I don't know what is. Did you just get access to his cellar? Hell yeah. If it was me, I'd still be too nervous to go about doing that. I don't know how you can just walk into someone else's house and be like, "Yep, I'm taking this," even if they give you permission. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm not a fan of grape juice. Gonna be honest. I like wine. Not that I drink that a lot either, but you know, something about I'm not a huge fan of the grape flavor. How do you guys feel about grape juice? That's it.
It's on the house.
Woohoo! Paimon's gonna tell everyone we meet that we're VIPs at Dawn Winery! This one bottle must be worth at least, like,
but it's also
50,000 mora! And he gave it to us for free! Thank you so much, Master Diluc!
If you're free tonight, you're welcome to stay for dinner. Adeline is already making it.
Oh, bail.
There are, however, a few things I need to take care of before dinner time. Yes, passiveness is not my style.
Oh, we know.
Though I had my suspicions at the start, everything I've come across so far in my investigation suggests that the Abyss Order was not behind this. Since this arose from natural causes, it's time to wrap things up.
So what should we do? Right, sure. After all, he did just give us this amazing grape juice. Wait, no. What was it? After all, even when the odds of success are 9 to 1, you must never lower your guard.
Well said. In that case, let's get going.
Okie dokie, Captain Pyro. You can take it a little easier this time. Come on, let's go! This is the final battle. Then we can put all this trouble behind us.
Oh, Kaeya's here.
Hello, Master Kai. I mean, Captain Kaeya. I don't believe we were expecting you. Has something urgent come up?
Oh, Adeline, don't be such a stranger. The Knights of Favonius have received word of another sighting of the Dark Knight hero. Now, the witness wasn't able to see where the suspect was headed. However, I just have a gut feeling that he's in the Dawn Winery area.
Really? What can I say, Captain Kaeya? You and the Dark Knight hero have never been seen in the same place at the same time, and you often show up at the Dawn Winery, just like the Dark Knight hero. So, is it safe to say that you are the Dark Knight hero?
Now that you mention it, it makes sense. I almost can't believe it. I am the legendary Dark Knight hero.
I'm sorry, Captain Kaeya, but the Dawn Winery is having a fire safety inspection today. You'll have to come back another day.
Seriously, shouldn't you at least ask me to stay for dinner as a courtesy?
We were asked.
Then again, I do have a pile of admin work waiting for me today. In that case, please pass a message on to Diluc for me. Tell him that the hazard zone has been established. The public shouldn't notice anything, and the enemy is unlikely to detect it right away.
Captain Kaeya, your words are as profound and enigmatic as ever. I'm just a maid. None of that means anything to me. Master is currently out at a business meeting with his commercial partners. I don't know where they are exactly. I will pass your message on to him word for word when he gets back, but I can't guarantee that the meaning behind the words will be fully conveyed.
Oh, but these are code words he grew up using. If he doesn't understand them, then perhaps it was a wasted childhood. Oh, by the way, is there anything new at the winery? While I'm here, I'd like to pick up some choice wine to take home.
Captain Kaeya, you are too funny. You know we don't do retail. Still, thank you so much for visiting.
Wow, hold on a second there. That's actually a little something something. Huh. Kaeya just got like turned away every which way he just tried to get like himself involved with something. Like, I don't know, man. That's shows up like asking questions about Dark Knight Hero and stuff, gets turned on him, like, you know. I mean, it was all civil and everything, but then the whole like, oh man, I'm here, like, you'd think there'd be like an invite to dinner. Meanwhile, we were invited to dinner. We know the Dark Knight Hero. I mean, he does too, obviously, but you know, like, it's we were just told that. We were told that before. And then like the whole like, oh well, I'd like to, you know, at least grab some wine from here. We were just straight up offered juice for free, just to come in and take whenever we want. Meanwhile, they're like, no, we can't sell to you, Kaeya. Like, damn. And the you know, I wasn't too thrilled, or no, that's not the right word. I didn't really think much anything of Adeline's voice performance. Not that it was bad or good, but it just seemed very like standard for like Genshin Impact NPCs, it seemed. But there, it was the conversation with Kaeya just now. It was very different sounding. She definitely had her customer service voice on, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Just a little overly chipper, but I don't know. She's also like feigning this ignorance. Like, it's interesting. It was almost flirty too, in a weird way. Like, but I don't know. But that's just her. Like, it was just her just like redirecting everything and just matching Kaya's energy, if that makes sense. I actually liked that performance. That was a good conversation between those two characters, and just shows like just how much Adeline just understands Diluc's mindset of just like, without even talking to him beforehand, probably, or maybe she did, just like, yeah, no, I just don't want to, I'm just not dealing with Kaeya right now. Like, I'm not dealing with him today. Like, I'm doing my thing. He's gonna probably poke his nose around. Just, if he shows up, turn him away. Like that's my guess of what happened behind the scenes, right? Because he has been around before. He has been allowed to be around before. We've read the note that states that they have let him just be there sometimes. But I guess when things are actually going on, Kaeya still wants to come around and snoop around and stuff and find out things. And they're just like, nope, we know. And we're just going to be really cool about telling you to not be here right now because we know what you're trying to do. But anyway, it's interesting. It's funny. I like that.
There. It's done. The ley line deposit will disappear before long.
All thanks to the power of teamwork. See, even Captain Pyro needs his trusty sidekick sometimes. It can't be Master Diluc saving the day by himself every single time. Many hands make light work.
Sidekicks. It's been a long time since I last worked with others. It's not so bad. If the opportunity arises, let's team up again in the future.
Okay.
These letters cover a whole load of different events. Oh, Paimon never knew Diluc's past was so complicated. We're really gonna have to study all the details to figure out how everything fits together. Which letter do you want to read next?
Okay, we get to read more of them. Cool. A letter with elegant handwriting. Welcome back to Mondstadt, sir. It has been some time since the incident. We discovered that Erok has betrayed us, and he has been punished severely. Yep. Hope this news will put your mind at ease. In other news, Our people have discovered that the Abyss Order has stepped up its activities between Wolvendom and blah, blah, blah. Also, a mysterious individual that people are calling the Dark Knight Hero has suddenly started showing up out of nowhere all around Mondstadt City. Typically acts in the dead of night, and his intentions are currently unclear. Please stay safe and notify the Knights as soon as possible. Should you see anything suspicious, we will send support immediately. Whether you are pleasantly in our ranks or not, all faithful Knights will remember your contributions to the Knights of Favonius. May you remain in good health. Okay, so that one is... Hold on, I might have messed up something just now. Okay, no, I think we're good. I don't know. Like, I almost want to say that's Jean just being very, very proper. But I also feel like she would refer to him as just Diluc. Like, I don't know if she would be that formal with him, but she could be if she's acting Grandmaster, and it's probably relatively recent, so she might be taking her job even more seriously at this point in time. Not that she doesn't now, but still. Anyway, yeah, so obviously that one... I mean, these are all about the events that happened after his father dies. And pretty much just him leaving the Knights of Favonius, wallowing in grief, and then pretty much going away, take some time off or whatever, but he's really showed up as the Dark Knight hero in Mondstadt, protecting it, using his way of, you know, following his philosophy, his way of justice, dealing with things, because of just how that whole happened with the Knights of Favonius, and put a bad taste in his mouth, and was just... I can't remember the exact conversation, but they were being very very shitty about the whole thing. And he was just like, nope, I'm not participating in this anymore. Don't blame him. Yeah, okay, let's keep going. Oh, and and it keeps mentioning this Enoch guy. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right. My apologies, so I'm not. Yeah, I'm trying to remember who that is. Was that someone that was in the comic? I'm not sure. But yeah, I remember there was someone taking credit for, you know, dealing with a dragon. And, like, that was just not what actually happened. Something like that. I'm not sure. I could be mixing up events. Either way, this dude was figured out. And is no more. Oh, wait. Was it someone that was taking credit for stopping the thing that Krempus, Diluc's father, essentially went up against before he died? Is that what this is? That must be what that is. Because I don't know if it was... I'm getting a little mixed up. Diluc's father was going up against a beast. And he did a thing. And he got hurt. And Diluc put him out of his misery. So, it sounds like someone else was taking credit for that. And then they've been exposed that that's not the story. That's not what happened. That's my guess. Unless if there is something else that did happen that I'm just not remembering at the moment, that someone else is taking credit for. I know the Lawrence clan, but that was forever ago, that did something similar. But that we're not talking about that right now. That was back with Vanessa and stuff. That's way back. But yeah, anyway. Oh, a neatly written letter. It is my pleasure to investigate the ley lines alongside you. Okay, this is probably Albedo, because investigate. As you know, my focus is on alchemy. Yep. So my knowledge of the ley lines remains quite shallow. Quite shallow, and I fear that I will only be able to share what little understanding I have. According to many pre-existing documents, the ley lines can be seen as a medium for storing information. Under certain circumstances, they can record activities that occur in the area around them. He already knows more than he lets on. Look at that. All this information goes through a recording and storage process. After a certain period of time, they may be released once again by the ley lines. Just like, yeah, man, it's so, there's so much of that feeling of just how much of a simulation or a program this all is, just with like the terminology that they use, whether it's this talking about, I mean, of course this is probably the language you'd use to make it so someone could understand it as much as possible, but at the same time, like, this is also, I don't know, information goes through a recording and storage process. Like, that sounds like we're just straight up talking about computers now, but where are there computers in Mondstadt? I don't know. Nowhere. But anyway, so there's that. But then again, there's other ways to record things and to store things. It's not just all technology. It's, you know, you can technically record things with a pen and then store them in a drawer somewhere. You know what I mean? So it's not that crazy, but just how I'm thinking about it. But then we've seen stuff with, like, you know, A's quest and the Ryan Shogun, like the Istaroth thing with the seeing like things looking like a freaking blueprint or a schematic or whatever. You know, like, there's all sorts of things that make you be like, man, what is this world? Anyway. Yeah, Albedo's saying he doesn't know much about the ley lines yet. He is just dropping facts about them right now. So, way to go, Albedo. Just MVPing once again. If I may be so bold as to make a guess, there should be a method to activate the ley lines. Those who grasp such methods can control the times at which ley line information is recorded and released. Okay. Judging from the runic symbols and some other clues, I surmise that there are particular members of the Abyss Order who have a very small chance of being able to achieve this. If you believe that this requires further investigation, these entities may serve as your point of entry. Right. Which leads to Diluc going around beating the crap out of the Abyss Order. I wrote a paper a few years ago in which I covered my brief foray into questions concerning the flow of ley lines and other such topics. You will find a copy of this paper enclosed. So, bro, you already wrote a paper about it? And you're all like, I don't know much, man. You wrote like a thesis. Humble son of a bitch. Sorry? I don't know if I can call gold that or not. Probably? I'm not sure. Anyway, I hope that I can help to clear up some of your doubts. Dear Dark Knight Hero, the Knights of Avonius have stepped up the guard details and throughout Mondstadt without making any major movements. The Abyss Order will not have noticed. I am scouting around Dragonspine. The monsters here are scattered and separated. Clearly, they haven't been assembled by the Abyss Order. There are no signs of enemy activity in the south of Mondstadt either. If you can confirm that other locations are also free of monsters, we will be able to conclude that the Abyss Order has nothing to do with the recent leyline disorder. I don't know if that was from anyone in particular. That might have just been like some Knights of Avonius guy. Someone moving around. Definitely not Kaeya. I'm not sure.
Hey, there's another bunch of letters here. Diluc must have read these ones recently too. Which one shall we read first?
Oh, a storm is brewing within the Knights of Avonius. Varka's inner circle is preparing to investigate Erok. Oh, Erok. I'm going to say Erok. I said Enoch before, my bad. Erok and his henchmen. And it's looking increasingly likely that Erok is about to get unseated from the high horse of his. From that high horse of his. We might not be too pleased to see this letter of mine, but I mean to get this news to you as soon as possible. You don't have to reply.
First.
Ooh. I think I know. And these letters are off to the side too. These are Kaeya's, aren't they? Does Kaeya have beautiful handwriting? I could see him having beautiful handwriting. Because he's giving him information, but he's like, you don't have to talk to me. It's fine. Like, I get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know who else would have that kind of, like, who else would write something like that we know of importance. Yeah. I think this is Kaeya still trying to be a help, but realizing that they're still not on great terms at this point in time. And it says 2D. Even I was a little surprised to hear that you decided to leave on a trip. Jean wanted to write and try to dissuade you, but I advised her against it. As for Varka, I don't think he knows about this. Otherwise, he'd have probably sat you down for a talk. If you'd like to leave, do it now. The less the people know, the less the goodbyes you'll have to say. I leave at night too. Leave at night too, so things won't be too saddening. Take care. Yep. Okay. And then the last one, 2D. Some slightly bad news. Erok won't what? What won't Erok do? Erok won't be quite so difficult to bring down after all. Oh. Okay. That's bad. The Grand Master's orders to investigate has certainly dealt him a major blow, but I wouldn't call the problem pulled up by the roots yet. The matter's been handed over to Jean's jurisdiction. She'll take care of this, I believe. Erok is an obstacle in her path, in any case. Just sit tight and wait for the good news. Okay.
Another bunch of... Which one do you think we should start with?
More beautiful letters. Okay, yeah. Recently, a group of businessmen returned to Mondstadt. Word is that the reason for their return is a downturn in business. According to my observations, their employees are regulars at Angel Share. These people can also be found out in the more dangerous parts of the wilds around the city. Now, a few of them were a little careless. Adeline? I'm not staying for dinner. Now, a few of them were a little careless and even dropped some pages of their notes on the ground. I took the liberty of returning these sheets to the Angel Share. You know, out of the goodness of my heart. I think they might have something to do with you, seeing as how they were there. I also noticed that their notes were written in code. Information brokers, perhaps, or some kind of secret organization. Whatever the case, it took quite a lot of effort to see those blurred words with only one eye. You know? Yeah, it's Kaeya. Okay, don't worry. I'll keep this a secret. I can now slowly dip into my poor Kaeya voice as we continue. I didn't try to hide it from you on purpose, you know. God damn it, I can't read that fast. What the heck? Why you like this to me? Okay. I didn't try to hide it from you on purpose, you know. But I suppose you found out all the same, huh? I mean, not everyone who wears an eye patch must be blind, right? Don't people, son of a gun, don't people don't people also wear an eye patch if they have a scar over their right eye? The long-awaited good news is finally here. Now I'm going to bring a glass of wine when I go to watch Erok pass his things and leave on his last day. Good riddance, by the way. That should be fun, eh? I know you're not the type to do that sort of thing, but I am, so allow me. And last one, probably? Oh my, no sooner did you get back than a mysterious character started popping up. I hear he's called the Dark Knight Hero. He has repeatedly fought off treasure hoarders and monsters in the Mondstadt area, and he's even attacked Abyss or Order strongholds? Yeah, that's what it was. So far, it seems like he is on Mondstadt's side, but the something god, this is going faster than usual, it feels like. I have lost my pace. Also, my apologies with all the pausing, but you see how fast it's moving. I could just be quiet and read it all as it goes and not say anything, but that would be boring, and the video would have been over probably when it should have. It's gone on for an hour and a half now. Anyway, so far it seems like he is on Mondstadt's side, but the Knights of Avonius could never permit the existence of a vigilante. I get the feeling that the two of you would get along nicely. Why don't you find an opportunity to get to know him and give him some sage advice? You know, just so he doesn't get caught by the Knights. There we go. Oh, there's more?
There are a few more letters here. Take your pick. Let's read one.
Man, Kaeya has written a lot. Cool. Per standard procedure, the Knights of Avonius needs to take a statement from all relevant parties. Recently, the Knights of Avonius have received the reports from a number of eyewitnesses claiming to have seen the Dark Knight Hero in the vicinity of the Dawn Winery. The Grand Master has assigned the cavalry captain to this mission. As such, I will be paying you a visit in 3 days. He seems to think that our relationship can be improved if we are forced to talk in person. Don't worry though, my lips are sealed. This will be nothing more than a formality. Anyway, 3 days' notice should be enough for you, I presume. Wow, okay. So, it is just straight up... yeah, okay. The relationship's rocky between them because of everything that has happened. Diluc went on a trip and then started to deal with things his own way as the Dark Knight Hero. Kaeya is being told to investigate it. Kaeya knows. He has a hunch, a very strong one, and is just straight up so I'm coming over to investigate in 3 days. So, you know, it should give you enough time to prepare for my visit when it's that, but it's also just kind of you know, get your story straight. Hide whatever evidence that I'm going to find. You know, it's giving him the hint where it's yeah, I'm coming over. Haha. I don't know. That's cool. It's still, even though their relationship is strained, it definitely feels more so on I mean, they both have their grievances with each other, right? But at least as of right now, in this instance, it is more so. It's more so seeming to be on Diluc's side of like. I don't blame either of them for really acting the way that they're acting, but Diluc, in my opinion, is definitely like more assertive, more aggressive when it comes to this disagreement that they're having. Meanwhile, Kaeya does more of like the mind game passive aggressive approach. You know, they're definitely two sides of the same coin here with dealing with this, because you know Kaeya could show up and Diluc would just be like, "Get the fuck out! Don't want to talk to you right now. Not in the mood." Right? Meanwhile, Kaeya could show up and just be like, "What? You don't want to talk to your brother? You know, the same guy who you fucked up his eye." Like, you know what? Like, you know, he just like throws something like that just to be like, you know, twist the knife a little bit. Like, yeah, remember how you fucking did this to me? But without saying it so aggressively, which he did in the letter before. He's just like, yeah, you know, with my one eye, haha, pointing it out. Yeah. So but he's still trying to help him. But you know that there's like this guilt and this combination of guilt and bitterness between them at the same time. You know, in the first letter, Kaeya's like, you don't have to reply. Like he knows like Diluc doesn't want to anyway, so it's just like, yeah, don't feel the need to. I get it. But also, yeah, it sounds like they're very much keeping it a business at the moment here. And like Diluc was saying before, when we were talking to him, he doesn't agree with how the knights do things, but unlike before, he is willing to utilize them in some way. Like he's not throwing them completely. Like he's not just completely disregarding their possible usefulness. But overall, he doesn't like how they're run. So yeah, there's that. And he still feels the need to do things at his own hands, because you know they're strapped. They don't have the people. They don't have the forces to put soldiers to guard a ley line, because then Mondstadt has less, and that's just bad. They both want Mondstadt protected as of right now. Kaeya is still like, you know, I did my whole thing about Kaeya. I still think Kaeya is going to have to make a choice later. When it comes to Conria stuff. Maybe. Potentially. I'm not 100% sure on that these days. But I do think that is going to come up. I do genuinely believe, though, Kaeya does care about the people that he is... that he's grown close to. So what first started as a charade probably has turned out to be real. But I think that's going to be a thing that we discover further in the game. Hopefully there is like a return of a lot of these. I mean, there will be. At the time of this recording, was it 5.6 is around the corner, or it's here right now? And I'm very curious about that story, because that's back in Mondstadt and we're dealing with Albedo, and it's just like, I don't know. It's strange. I haven't played much of the game, but there's just something about the Mondstadt characters where, even though it's like early game, I'm very interested in them because of how relevant they still are in the bigger scheme of things because of like who Albedo is and what he is connected to. The Kaeya and Diluc story is, I think, is interesting because I just find that kind of drama that interesting. Jean is a very interesting character with what she's doing and what she has gone through to be the acting grandmaster and such. Venti, the Archon of Mondstadt, he's like the guy, you know, like he's connected to so much stuff and he's just so mysterious. So I don't know, not saying that Liyue doesn't have its stuff, like it does, but I feel like we get plenty of Liyue all the time because I personally feel like there's a bias there. Chinese game, Liyue was the China inspired place, like I don't know, like there's whatever, that might not even necessarily be the case, but we get plenty of Liyue related things all the time, I think. So whenever we hear a little bit of Mondstadt, I'm just kind of like, oh, Mondstadt, that's where we started. So yeah. Anyway, Kaeya letters. The appearance of the Dark Knight hero has indeed brought the Knights of Favonius some valuable time during the Abyss Order's last attack. This helped Jean convince the Knights of Favonius to stop focusing on trying to stop him. This will decrease the limits on the Dark Knight hero's actions, but this does not mean that his situation will necessarily improve. Objects with too honed on edge tend to be damaged more easily. You, I'm sure, are aware of the great dangers that come with acting alone. That said, I would advise... Oh, wait. Oh, shit. Oh, man. Let me go back and read that. That might be... No pun intended, because we're dealing with Kaeya here. That might be one of the coldest things this guy has ever freaking said. If I'm taking it the way... I don't know if it was meant to be taken this way, but holy crap. Objects with too honed an edge tend to be damaged more easily. You, I'm sure, are aware of the great dangers that come with acting alone. To me, that's like, yeah, so like the last time you acted alone, you fucking killed our dad because I wasn't there, and maybe something, I don't know, like, oh, I don't know if it's meant to be like that, but that feels like a stab. That's just kind of like, and maybe it's not that specific moment, but it is something like that. Like, you know, Diluc right now is trying to do things on his own. And like it seemed, and like, well, he has been trying to do things on his own for a while. Now he's more accepting of like partners helping him and stuff. Like, you know, he's grown. There's been character development. But before that, before the Traveler and stuff, he was very much just kind of like, you know, I work alone kind of thing. And yeah. But I feel like that also very much stems from, like, that begins at the very least from that moment. Because if you look at the comic, Kaeya was not on the scene until after what was done was done. And it's very much a what the hell moment, right? Man. Yeah, okay. I mean, I might be reading too much into that, but that feels like a jab to me. That said, I would advise against such a course of action. Okay, I heard the Dawn Winery did not suffer any damage. Likewise, the Knights of Favonius only sustained minor injuries and will recover quickly. However, an employee of a local merchant has gone missing, and their last known location just so happens to align with the Abyss Order's area of activity. The Knights have dispatched people to go to the rescue. Do be aware that the Abyss Order has become more dangerous as of late, even going so far as to organize multi-pronged offensives. Perhaps the Dark Knight hero and the Knights of Favonius should team up. That might guarantee that things will go off without a hitch, Yeah, so that whole time it's talking about things, you could see how Kaeya's mood would shift in the letters, and eventually it does. That last one is very much like, all right, dude, I'm not saying it. This is all, theoretical, but what if the Dark Knight hero and the Knights of Favonius teamed up? Not that you would have anything to do with that about it, but I'm just sharing this information with you anyway because, why not? Yeah. And these letters of essentially, I don't know how far apart, but I mean, I feel like they lead up to Diluc's story quest. Maybe not I'm not saying the last letter we just read is the day before Diluc's story quest, but it's, it sets that up. Possibly even other things like one of those cutscenes where we walk away and Kaeya is in that domain and he's talking with the Abyss Mage, and then Diluc shows up and wrecks him and stuff. That might have been a lead or something that's connected to this whole thing and stuff. And Diluc's just Knights of Favonius, what a joke. Tee-hee. Just, yeah. No, it all connects. Oh, a secret compartment? Okay. Okay. A piece of it has been burned away, and the remaining part shows signs of having been rescued from that same flame. Huh. Every line on this sheet of paper has a matching one right under it. From the handwriting, it looks like a child wrote on this first before an adult stepped in, held their hand, and taught them how to do it the second time. The writings are as follows. Remember always that it was the Albrecht clan who did not have royal blood, who stepped in as regents when... Hold on, what? Albrecht clan. Oh, yeah. Remember always that it was the Albrecht clan who did not have royal blood, who stepped in as regents when... I don't know how to say that word, actually. Regents? Regents? It's regents, I think. When the strength of the one-eyed King Ermund failed. Okay. Though we could not restore Conria to life, we of the Albert clan should lead lives as those who blaze like fire, rather than those who wallow in the embers. If you flip the paper over, there are other words there. You reckon these must be annotations of some sort. I saved this one memento from the fire father made while he was paying attention. This was in violation of our principles. Ah, come on. I wish it delayed for just a moment when the sentence finished instead of going to the next thing. This was in violation of our principles. Our clan's affairs should never be recorded. Okay. For me, this sheet of paper cannot serve as any form of identification and will not give me passage anywhere. Now that I look at it, his handwriting was as grieving as a smoking ash pile. There is no way that I can write something like that, living in Mondstadt as I am. Moving the paper aside, you can see a cloth bag underneath it that contains an eye patch of significant age. A sticker is attached to the side, and the text on it reads, "Ha! To think that all that play acting as a one-eyed pirate would eventually end with one actual wounded eye." I've never blamed Diluc for that. I suppose I must have been asking for it. Telling him the truth the day my adoptive father died without expecting conflict to emerge somehow. Yeah, that's yeah. He seems to... That was on that day? Fuck. Anyway, he seems to believe that I really was blinded, though that's not the case. Well, I fooled him for a while, haven't I? Wait, he seems to believe that I really was blinded, though that's not the case. Well, I fooled him for a while, haven't I? Might as well keep going. 2 letters lie beneath the bag, all of which have D as their sender. These letters are in great condition, and there is a time written on the back. This is most likely the time these letters were received. You can tell that the words have been written in a strong but elegant hand. So these are letters that Diluc had sent, or planned on sending, or something. Yeah, 2K. Message received. Thank you. Oh, I thought that was it. Also, I suggest that you stop mentioning eyes in your letters. Don't think that I don't know that your right eye wasn't blinded. A small paper bag lies next to these 2 letters. It contains nothing but a few seashells. They have lost most of their luster. It is unclear how much time has passed since they were picked up. Might be best to store this box and restore everything to how it was originally. Second one, to K. Thanks for the letter. Cooperating with the Knights has objective pros and cons, like 2 sides of a coin. I'm sure you understand that better than I do. No need to worry about... It's because he flips a coin, it's funny. Anyway, no need to worry about my safety. Self-preservation is easy. Striving towards my goal is hard. Take better care of yourself instead. Small paper bag lies next to these 2 letters. It contains nothing but a few seashells. Okay, yeah. Okay. Dear Master Varka. Okay. You have my utmost thanks for your condolences and concern. My father would be pleased to have heard your compliments. I doubt that anything would have pleased him more than to have the acknowledgement of the Knight of Boreas. I am presently traveling, and by a stroke of fortune, your letter has indeed reached me safely. If nothing goes awry, I believe that I will not be joining the Knights of Favonius. However, I will not forget my previous experiences. I will commit everything the Knights of Favonius taught me to heart. May this find you in good health. Okay. Dear Jean, thank you for your concern, Acting Grandmaster. It is, as you say, that incident should no longer weigh heavily on my mind. Punishing Erok has, for his his bad behavior was the right way to correct the Knights of Favonius' past mistakes. This is an important step indeed for the Knights. As for my own personal safety, you need not concern yourself too much. The Knights of Favonius should focus their efforts where it counts by looking after those who need it most. And you also remain in good health. Okay. Civil conversations here. Oh, and then Albedo's place. Oh yeah, because we're going to these different locations to see how he responded to all these people. Oh, letter addressed to Alice. Dear Miss Alice, I must admit that when I read the opening lines of this letter, I was not expecting it to have been written by you. It seems that I may have indeed failed to notice you despite your presence nearby. My apologies for that. I don't know about that. Yeah, the game trying to be like, oh, Alice is around. I don't know. I don't know. Regarding Klee, I have heard that you are an extremely powerful witch, so I suspect that Klee would have been just fine even without my presence, or whatever he said. Even so, you sent me this letter, for which I am thankful. As you said, traveling is my best option at present. I will go and experience all that the world has to offer, just as you suggested. My father's will shall find continuation through me. Excuse me. Klee is welcome to stay at Dawn Winery as guest during my absence. Adeline will prepare sufficient snacks and grape juice for such occasions, and if you don't mind, you are also welcome to drop by. I hope that you and Klee stay in good health. Dear Albedo, thank you for the detailed explanation. I have read your paper and found it both enriching and easy to understand. It is a rare and well-written document, indeed. I have written the relevant information down in the hopes that it will be put to good use in the future. Guarding against danger is a very important skill. I will continue to keep watching over the Abyss Order and use force against them where necessary. Oh, guess we're subscribing now. Yeah, that's it. It just ends there, I guess. So let's talk about it a little bit. Oh no. There we go. Okay. I thought I was gonna have to talk over the spinning circle of doom again. Anyway. My apologies for all the pausing that I had to do in this. I know I rambled for quite a bit and even talked about things that I'm sure I've talked about a billion times. But there was a lot of reading. And you know me, I had to read as much of it as possible when I realized it. This was cool. This was really cool to get more insight of Kaeya and Diluc. And I feel like for those who did not read the comic, you get to this and now you have an idea of what happened, why they are kind of estranged and all that jazz. However, I don't know why you wouldn't read the comic, because it's good and it shows the stuff that's happened. But this even goes further to show you more interactions with the back and forth of these letters. And it's also cool that Diluc wasn't like hiding that from you, where he was just like, yeah, go read through the stuff. It's fine. Of course, he's out investigating, doing his own thing. But the real purpose of this was to find out more about how those events took place, how people responded to it, how Diluc responded back. And yeah, Diluc was, I mean, in his replies, he was very put together responding. He didn't like really tell anyone to back off or whatever or anything like that. The closest thing would have been with Kaeya, but that's just him calling him out on his act, being like, I didn't freaking blind you, man. Can you stop talking about it like I did? Like, what the fuck? It's pretty funny. And of course, probably the most interesting out of all that is to find those hidden notes in like the box hidden away where it was the replies to Kaeya, but also that message talking about Conria stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Just like we already know, right? But just getting that little bit of insight there. And Yeah, Alberic. Like I know that's Kaya's family and stuff, and like the Alberic, Aldrich is it Aldrich or Alberic? I can't remember. But that clan, right? And how it was there? It's like they took it upon themselves to revive Conria. I still think that's going to come into play. I'm just not sure how it's going to go down. But I liked how everything developed. This was fairly simple. I see why it wasn't the longest because it's mostly text and you're just skimming through that. But for me, of course, I had to stop and look at it. I hope you enjoyed this. I did. It's always interesting to get a look at these characters, to get more of an idea of where their minds are at and events that have happened which lead to what they've been through and how they are now and so on. So yeah, Diluc and Kaeya, cool characters. I liked how they interacted with everyone else, how we have messages from Varka, Alice, Albedo, Jean, and so on. The slew of letters from Kaeya. Just yeah. This was fun. I felt like we were invited to investigate further, and it was nice. But anyway, I think I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Diluc and Kaeya's situation. Do you feel like you're on one side more than the other? If someone's more in the right or wrong, or do you just kind of see it as a mess or whatever? Do you have hope for their relationship of sorts to grow and get better, etc., so on, so forth, all that stuff? Let me know what you think. Personally, I do like their dynamic as it is now, and I like seeing how it has kind of improved over time. Sort of, they tolerate each other. It's one of those things where that they care, they have a lot of history, but things are the way they are now for obvious reasons, so it's still a little tough. But yeah, that is essentially it. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, shine on, you crazy diamonds. Later.